My next project is out of the plastic drink bottles. This plastic drink bottle, a friend of mine brings these all the time, and they have kind of a pattern on the side, and so she brings me about every other week. She brings me a bag full of these, and I looked at them. I thought, well, those are really cool, and I wanted to do something home decor. So I thought, with all these different shapes, why not make a room divider? So take a look. For this project, I chose this drink bottle that has all this cool embossing design on it. It really is a neat design, and what's really funny is it's usually covered with a label so you don't even get to see it. But I like it because it has so much design on it. We're going to use the bottom of the bottle, and we're going to use the sides of the bottle. You could also use some of these pieces. And I always save the top of the bottle for other things, so don't throw it away. So the first thing we want to do is we want to take off the bottom. And I just take a craft knife, and a sharp one is good, and just poke it in and cut. And then cut off right above the embossed area that we're going to use here. This part is a little bit tougher, but it still cuts with a craft knife. Now, if you have any of the labels still on it, if you use one of those label removers, it works really well. And I notice I still have a little bit of water. Make sure that your plastic is clean. And then just simply cut this apart. And again, you're going to cut as many apart as how big you want it. And I just rounded the edges on these pieces. And then just trim the bottom of your cap just a little bit to get a nice straight edge. And we're going to drill a hole in the side. Go this way. And then opposite. So you want your hole where it's the opposite each other. And then on these pieces, instead of drilling them, I just paper punched them with a 1/8" paper punch. Next, we're going to paint them. Now, the bumped out or the raised edge is going to be the right side, so we're going to turn it over and paint it. And I just take acrylic paint and just a cosmetic sponge and just paint the inside. And it usually takes a couple coats. And you do the same thing with the bottom. Make sure you get into all the edges and just paint. let it dry, and then give it a second coat. Now, I want to show you before I move on, if you wanted to put more detail in it, you could actually, on the inside here, you could put like different colors. You could actually get really intricate, get different colors in here, and then let them dry and then paint it black. Because when you turn it over, it's all it shows is the black. So all my pieces are painted. I've got the bottoms, I've got the sides, and then you can also use the cap. So the next thing you need to do is just decide where you want the different things. This one there. Make sure that you have your punched or your drilled. And then just start taking, you can take wire, and this particular one is a 22 gauge wire, and maybe about an 8-inch piece. Curl it. I just take some needle nose. And I just want a spiral on this first one. And you can do it as big as you want. And just come up through. And usually what I like to do is bend this back and then bring the wire kind of through like that and go back up. Now you can add beads to it if you want. This project's really fun too because there's so many things you can do, so many ways you can do it. You can do it with wire. You're not limited. Just use what you have in the colors that you want. And let's see if I have another one here. I got a whole bunch of beads and jars over here, so I have a big choice to choose from. Now again, I probably would kind of bend this over. I want those to stay there, so I'm going to loop it. And this is really creating as I go. Now, this is probably going to be the top of my my piece, so I'm going to leave this long enough so that I can put it over. You'd be putting it over like a maybe a dowel stick, a 1/2-inch dowel stick, or perhaps a curtain rod. So leave this part this long, and this is what you can put over that. Now I found in the in-between, I like these little doves. I found them on my shelf, and I actually bought them at the dollar store. They're in the wedding department. They have a hole in the bottom, and I just took and drilled them all the way through so I could use them as beads. So again, we can put some beads. And let's get one more big one here. Now to end this, you're going to bend it over. I'm going to cut off a little bit and twist that into a loop. And that's going to be my bead in between this and the bottom of the jar. So if I want to connect them with wire, again, anything goes here. You could take jump rings if you wanted to. If you wanted to do another spiral, you could do that, and you just connect everything together. I add a little loop there. That loop can hook onto my little bird. And use what you have. And then this can come through that hole that I did before. And again, I can make another spiral, or I can just twist it. And put a twist to hold it right there. And then go up into a spiral. And this one, I think I don't want it quite as long, so I'm going to cut it off a little bit. Save all these pieces of wire too, because you can use them as little hooks and jump rings and such. So I'm going to create another little spiral. I always like to get them started, and then I can do the rest of them with my fingers. And then that would hook together to this other little piece, just like that. You just continue to put them all together using what you have, using the caps. Maybe this one would have a next one, when you go to put them on, and maybe it would have a cap here, but just keep hooking them all together. And let's take a closer look, because in the center of them in the center of the round, of the bottom ones, I used the flat marbles, and you can get these in a really cool white and black. And then I also, on the cap, I put a flat marble, and I took little pieces of mirror and cut them up and put them around to give it a little bit different texture and color, so it kind of sparkled. On the pieces that were the flat with the embossing, I found some really cool mirror pieces that I just glued on them. You can use anything you want. Use what you have. And of course, again, the color scheme, I kind of kept to the white and the black and the silver tones. Super simple, and make it as big or as small as you want, and have fun.